Football, NFL football, Dallas Cowboys football is only a day away as we talk lots of football, everything sports. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Wednesday, September 8th. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Shannon, good Wednesday morning to you.
And to you, sir.
Woo!
You got your morning started extra early today, didn't you?
I rolled out of bed at 2:21 a.m.
Wow.
Insane.
Basically yesterday.
Yeah. It's insane. And but I'm glad I did because as you know, and I tweeted it out this morning, I watched the season finale of Hard Knocks Dallas Cowboys. How about you? Did you see it, Shannon? I from your notes this morning, it looks like you did.
Yeah, I have the final 10 minutes left. But I got most of the meat out of there this morning, and I don't know, it wasn't the emotional ride I thought I would get out of a Hard Knocks like I usually get.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it didn't blow me away,
right?
But I enjoyed it.
And I don't know if because after last year where they did two teams and everything was so hard on COVID that maybe it's just where it's moving in a different direction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was, and it's kind of, one of the big storylines was Danucci, and we kind of knew before this episode what was going to happen to him. And even, they kind of telegraphed early on, that the big, that he was going to go to the practice squad and get another chance there. I was kind of hoping for, that dramatic sit down with Danucci. And of course, I'm for those of you who are uninformed about Mike McCarthy's nickname, I'm talking about Cowboys' second year backup quarterback, Ben DiNucci. But, and they picked up, the storylines, Azur Kamara, Micah Parsons, fun sequence with him talking to DeMarcus Ware about Tom Brady, and DeMarcus Ware telling him Tom Brady's going to be messing with him on Thursday night, which is now tomorrow night. We came back and we picked up the fun bet rivalry between Trayvon Diggs and Amari Cooper. A fun moment with, and we'll have more on that a little bit later. Trayvon Diggs' son, Aiden, has a tremendous moment, which may be the highlight of the whole episode. So, and I really like the player from Monterrey, Mexico, the offensive lineman, Isaac Alarcon. We got to know him throughout this season, got to know his mom and his brother and his family a little bit. So we kind of caught up on him as well. So, yeah, I mean, in general, I liked it. If I'm going to score it on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 6 or a 7. And it was the Dallas Cowboys. So it did get me a little more geeked up. And in the final 10 minutes, you're going to get a little Jerry Jones. And you're going to get a little Jerry Jones philosophy and a little Jerry Jones montage. But one of the cool things that I saw that I liked, did you make it to, and I think it's in the final 10 minutes, so you might not have, Mike McCarthy has a team meeting, and it looks like the guys who made the practice squad were in there, and it's like in an auditorium room at the Star Complex in Frisco. What I'm talking about, and you'll remember it if you saw it, and if not, you're going to see it. There's this big sign that says victory. And in the middle of the letters in the word victory are Vince Lombardi trophies that the Cowboys have won, starting with 1971, the 71-72 season when the Cowboys won their first Vince Lombardi trophy. And then there's a final one that is a little bit faded. It's not fully crisp like the other ones. So it's like it's a little opaque, and underneath it says 2021. So they're showing all. So it says victory, and this is a big sign in this big meeting room for the Cowboys. So it shows all of the Vince Lombardi trophies in this word victory, and the final one is not yet fully in focus or not yet fully crisp or real yet, but its beginnings are there. And it's the 2021 Vince Lombardi trophy. I liked it. I mean, I think it's obviously audacious. Obviously, I think few people believe the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl and the Vince Lombardi Trophy this year. But I you got to dream big in order for those dreams to happen. So I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I like at least picture yourself there at the end of the season. If you're not, I think you may be doing something wrong.
Yes.
So that's certainly one way to do it. I want to go back to DiNucci real quick because
sure.
Early on in that episode, before they brought all the guys into one room and said, "Hey, your practice squad people," it was the upper brass and Jerry and Mike talking about DiNucci and saying that Mike McCarthy's reasoning was I'm not a fan of cutting a guy after he's going into his second year. Like we should give him the benefit of the doubt. We can still improve on him, which I'm like, I don't know. In some jobs, okay, sure. Especially in today's world where people right out of college are having such a hard time getting right. Everybody wants you to have 5 years of experience already under your belt for a job that does not require 5 years of experience, or they just need experience to then have that, right? But in the NFL, when you're looking at people, when you're grading, when it's all performance based and you've already had a year under your belt and then preseason, I don't know what we're doing. That to me does not speak to the mindset of we will do whatever it takes to win a Super Bowl. I know he's on the practice squad, and the likelihood of us seeing him actually play for real this year are slim to none, but we thought that same thing last year.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that reasoning. I didn't care for it.
Yeah, and I can only guess, and even though I think he inherited, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and Mike McCarthy probably fancies himself as a quarterback whisperer.
He can change him.
Yeah, right. So whatever skill set or potential that they saw in Ben DiNucci when they drafted him, compared to a Cooper Rush, which I don't think steps in the door with those raw skills, or maybe even a Garrett Gilbert, for whatever the reason. And he made it clear, Mike McCarthy does see something in Ben DiNucci, and he's hoping to find a way to develop it. And Ben DiNucci, had a little speech, before he gets in his car saying, "This is going to light a fire under my butt." He used another term.
It wasn't all those interceptions he threw. This will do it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mike McCarthy did allude to this as well. And if you want to defend the decision, I don't love the decision either, to keep Ben DiNucci for another year and keep him on the practice squad and this came up once or twice, the fact that last season was a COVID season. And so the entire team, especially the rookies, did not get a full training camp and a full experience to truly kind of assimilate themselves to this Dallas Cowboys team.
Well, but to that, I say Justin Herbert and DiNucci.
Boom.
What's his excuse?
There you go.
He did just fine.
There you go. Yeah.
Can you explain to me, within that same meeting, Jerry started going off on a tangent about a train going west?
Yeah, Jerry.
What was that?
It was something.
It lost me.
Okay, first of all, it was like from when we were building the railroad. Okay. So when America was building the railroads to go west.
Right.
So and I think Jerry's metaphor is the Super Bowl is going to be played in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. Okay. But so yeah, Jerry, it's kind of you got to see it if you haven't seen it as we talk about it. But Jerry goes, "Well, we're going west, and not everybody that's with us right now is going to make it. Some people are going to die. New people are going to be born. There's going to be new faces. We're going to have to destroy the wagons. We're going to have to, pack up. What he had a few pack up.
He brought the Oregon Trail to life.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, that was Jerry's weird little metaphor about go west, young man. And we're building a railroad all the way to California, trying to tell us that, this is it. We're building this path. We're blazing this trail to what ultimately will be the Super Bowl in SoFi Stadium. That's what I got from it anyway. But yeah, so there's that. I did find it interesting as well. The defensive line coach, the guy who speaks with the British accent,
yes,
Aiden Durday, if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, talking to the defensive line and saying, the number one thing we have got to do on Thursday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is make Tom Brady feel uncomfortable on every blanking snap. And he said this, I like the attitude.
Mhm.
To the defensive line, he said, if we do our job on Thursday night, I promise we will win this game. How we rush is what will affect this entire team. And if you think about it, in a weird way, I mean, Tom Brady is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mhm.
If the Cowboys if the defensive line can have their greatest freaking game of the last few years and rise to the occasion and wreak a little havoc on Tom Brady on Thursday night. So that I didn't think about it until he said that. Perhaps the key to the game is the defensive line playing out of its minds. So that, I liked that a lot, and it made me think, wow, if they could somehow get to Brady and rattle him a little bit, then yeah, we could have a football game tomorrow night.
Well, and then you have Brady yesterday talking about the numbers change again, the new rule. And he says he's got players that during preseason were wearing one number and now they just changed to a different number, and how he thinks that's going to confuse him and give the Cowboys defense a leg up. I mean, I know that there's a lot of hype around the Bucs, but it kind of sounds like he's building in an excuse for himself and for that team going into this game. Of if we lose, it's not because we're not the reigning Super Bowl champs who have everybody back and we're still going to make a good case to make it back to the Super Bowl. It's because the numbers just changed and I need time to get used to it.
See, I think he's playing mind games with the Cowboys and with the reporters. And, you know, going back to the, what is the LeBron James show on HBO that Brady was on this summer? You know, when he says,
Shop?
Yeah, The Shop. When he was on The Shop, he said, I'm never gonna, you know, I will lie all the time in a press conference. I'm never going to tell you really what I'm thinking. And he also said, you know, even if a player, I know he's a dog and I'm going to go after him and I'm going to destroy him, you know, I'll praise him to the media. So I think, you know, Brady's just, ooh, you know, man, it's not going to be as easy as it looks because I got some guys with some. I think Brady has total confidence and fully expects to just carve up the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow night.
What if there's an O lineman who had 82 and is now wearing number 9? I'm not going to know who's eligible. Okay, you've been in the league how long, sir? I think you're going to know who's eligible and you know this team well enough. So a lot of it does sound like some bull crap. But
yeah, he's Tom freaking Brady. I mean, nobody is better prepared than Tom Brady. So, but Shannon, I love it. It's Wednesday. This is the final day of this year that we will be without football. Tomorrow, you know, granted, it's a night game, kickoffs at 7:20 tomorrow night, but I mean, this is what we live for. The world, everything will be right with the world once again. We already have college football. It was a great weekend. Most of the teams that we or our listeners pull for did very, very well on opening day in college football. Now we get NFL football, and a lot of questions will be answered regarding this Dallas Cowboys football team. Can they hang with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Can they win the game? And if they don't win the game, and I know there are no moral victories, but I will feel better about the Cowboys, Shannon, if they're in it. You know, if we're going into the fourth quarter and it's a one possession game, if the Cowboys have a shot going into the fourth quarter, I'm going to feel very, very good. And of course, if they win, I'm going to be dancing in the streets.
Sure. Yeah. Give me a reason to stay up tomorrow night.
Please.
Don't give me the easy out of, well, I've got to get up early for work and this game looks long gone. Make me stay up.
Yeah, this whole, you know,
and don't let me go to bed angry.
No. And we're going to be really cranky in here on Friday morning if they lose. But I mean, yeah, for me this week, you know, up at 2:21 this morning to watch Hard Knocks, staying up late tomorrow night to watch Cowboys and Buccaneers. I am not complaining. Those are first world problems. Those are
another 3-day weekend.
Yeah, those are Cowboy fan problems. Exactly. So we have a tremendous show this morning. Shannon and I will roll into prophecy mode just after 7 o'clock. In less than an hour, we will make our AFC picks. So we're going to do AFC today, NFC tomorrow. And I will remind you that last year in my NFL picks, my final two teams standing, and it sounds like a no-brainer now, but it did not a year ago, were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs, and I picked Bucs over Chiefs before the season began.
Sure.
And I'm going to I mean, if you see how bad my college football picks were this past week, this is the only horn I have left to toot. I'm going to toot the heck out of this horn.
You can toot it all season long up until we have a new champion. So go for it.
Yeah, and hey, man, I may nail it 2 years. And I don't. A lot of people are picking the repeat performance. Oh, it's going to be Tampa Bay and Kansas City again, and this time Kansas City is going to win. That's the sexy. That's not even the sexy pick. That's the ordinary pick. That's the pick that most people say. Well, the Buccaneers. Who's going to beat them in the NFC? Nobody. And who's going to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the AFC? Nobody. So if they meet again in the Super Bowl, this time maybe Mahomes gets it. I am not
have literal home field advantage.
Yeah. So I can tell you right now, Shannon, I do not have a rematch of the Super Bowl in my prophecy. So there's that. All right. So coming up, we've got the high five play of the day, which is way cool. It's Cowboys related. I'm just saying. Bill Schoening going to join us just after 8:00. We talk all things sports with Bill. Yes, he's the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, but he is an Austin resident. He loves the Longhorns. He was the longtime voice of the Texas Longhorns, and he's a huge NFL football fan, but he's an Eagles fan, so we'll probably give him some crap about that. So we'll talk Longhorns, NFL, and NBA with Bill Schoening.
Does he have a song yet?
Oh, that's he.
I thought he maybe.
If he does, he didn't tell me yet. And Shannon, we have a huge controversy at UTSA that has a lot of people angry. They are doing away with a tradition at UTSA. We will dive into that. If you're in the know, you already know what it is. But it's
sounds like people came and took it. You know.
Yeah, they came and took it. And I'm seeing. Yeah, I'm seeing people who have been season ticket holders from the get-go saying this is a bad decision. So we'll get into that. Major League Baseball, Astros win. College football, NFL football, tomorrow night's game between the Cowboys and the Bucks, Hard Knocks. Next, high five play of the day. Then our football picks, the Salty Shakedown at 7:40. Sports history, sports birthdays, Bill Schoening. It's a great show. And we already got people hanging out with us on the live video feed, which you can get to via Facebook Live, via YouTube, and via Twitch. We will meet our beloved playing injured soundscape stylist, Mr. Dave Ayler, in the next segment as well. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. I'm Chris. Lots of football and sports coming at you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Good morning, everybody. This camera is askew. Thank you, Sports Grind, for messing with the camera every afternoon. So let's say hello to everybody. Everybody I see: John Williams, Wes Perkins, Tracy Bogert, the chairman of the Bexar County MAGA Republicans and coronavirus deniers. And he is, never mind. Foamfoot 420, Lucinda Sullivan with the coffee emoji. Lucinda, for the moment, it's just iced tea for me. I was guzzling coffee all morning watching Hard Knocks. Luisa Alanis, good morning. Clint Proctor, Hector Gomez, Jason Paniagua, Arthur L. Irvin. Welcome, Arthur. I don't recognize your name, so you're a newbie. Welcome in. Sam Tobias, Anthony Del Toro, Clint Proctor, Steve Duraco, the original Rock, and a 2021 future enshrinee of the San Antonio Polar Bear Club, Robert Armstrong, Ralph Balderas, Jesse Bratton. If I missed anybody, sorry. Don't mean to miss anybody. But if you comment, I can see you. So I say hi. All right. I hold in my hand my NFL picks. Let me cover some of them up. Whoops. Here's my NFL picks. Woo! That's the AFC. Woo! Yeah, Foamfoot 420. I did know that the Bucks had old 22 starters back. I did not remember that about the 1979 Steelers. And I believe that 79 Steeler team went, they in Super Bowl 13, they beat the Cowboys 35-31. And then they come back and they go to the Super Bowl again the next year, taking on Vince Ferragamo and the LA Rams at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, where I once caught a touchdown pass from Tony Golden Arm Aguia. I'm just saying. So let's see. John Williams from Dallas. Louisa fell asleep on Hard Knocks. Clint Proctor, good morning. Buenos dias, Jason. Sam Tobias, all praise. Thomas Wade Landry. Yes, a football god, a God in heaven, showering us with football blessings. Amen. Let's see. Woo! Oh, he talked about it yesterday, Sam. He broke his pinky toe. He broke his toe. I need to. Yeah, Robert, I know that. These, Patty Mills is no longer a Spur. J.J. Watt is no longer a Texan. So, yeah, I do not. And Sam Ehlinger is forever a Longhorn, but not currently playing for that football team. Yeah, Jason Garcia, I did see that trending on Twitter today that this is Star Trek Day. Let's see here. It's also International Literacy Day. I know you're excited about that. International Literacy Day. I'm not making this up. Pardon Day. Jason, somebody in this studio destroyed the Bryn Forbes cutout. It's down the hall, but someone just mutilated it and destroyed it, which when I saw that happen, I was not happy. Thank you, voice dude. And welcome back into the Chris Duel show with Shannon Salty Sweeney on the final day without NFL and Dallas Cowboys meaningful, real regular season football, as tomorrow night, NBC, 7:20 kickoff, pregame before that. Cowboys in Tampa to take on the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before we get into our high five play of the day, let us meet our injured soundscape stylist. And when I said that earlier, Dave Ayler, somebody on Facebook Live said, Sam Tobias said, wait, why is Dave Ayler injured? We talked about it yesterday on the show. You broke your toe. How is the toe doing on this Wednesday morning?
Yesterday, it was feeling pretty good. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I turned the corner here and I feel a little bit better. It's still looking pretty bad, black and red and not very well. And then I was walking in this morning. I go, no, it still feels the same as yesterday. So I'm still limping around. And now my other foot's starting to hurt because I have to overcompensate for it. So I'm just a mess.
Go ahead.
Are you shoving it in a shoe or are you going with flops? Keep it, let it air dry, let it kind of do its thing where it swells up so it can take care of itself.
Well, I thought at first I would have to go with the flip flops because I didn't think I was gonna be able to get a shoe on, but I can't get a shoe on though.
Okay.
So yesterday I was wearing a shoe. Today I'm wearing a shoe, and although when I'm around the house I never wear shoes, so it's always
that may have been your problem to begin with, sir.
Oh really?
Right? Isn't that how you the chair at home?
Right.
You're barefoot. Yeah, if you had shoes on, that wouldn't have happened.
Well, okay. Now you're asking for too much. That's way too much.
See, I'm not a barefoot kind of gal.
Oh, when I'm home, I'm always barefoot.
Yeah, I'm barefoot all the time.
Love shoes.
But wait, around the house, so Shannon, it's like when you were watching Hard Knocks this morning. What were you wearing? You were not barefoot around the house?
I wasn't dressed yet, so I was still in bed.
Okay, but when you're up at night before you go to bed, you've got something on your feet?
Usually I'm still dressed, so yeah, shoes and at minimum socks, but never barefoot. I won't go outside barefoot either. Like if I'm swimming, if I'm going to a pool, I'm wearing my flip flops or sandals or whatever right up to the edge of the pool, and I will only take them off once I put my feet in.
I'll say, if I'm around the house, I'm either barefoot or wearing socks. I'm not. When I'm inside, I don't wear shoes.
Without socks or shoes.
I'll walk out onto my driveway just wearing socks.
See, that's much better than being barefoot.
Well, I will go out there wearing barefoot too. But if I'm walking out there and I say, "Oh, I still got socks on," I go, "Yeah, they'll get clean."
Now, Dave, you did not go to, just for people, we talked about it yesterday, but again, I find it interesting. You did not go to a doctor. You break your toe. It's red and black and painful, and but no doctor. Yeah, even though you've got that incredible iHeart Media, iHeart Health plan.
Don't go, Dave. I made that mistake earlier.
I broke the same toe about 15 years ago, and I went to the doctor, and they did nothing. They basically took an X-ray and said, "Yeah, it's broken." And I go, "Okay, well, what do?" They said, "Just don't walk on it." And I go, "Don't I get like a boot or anything?" And they go, "No, we don't do that for a broken toe. Here's some, we can give you some crutches if you want it."
I go, "Did you know though that you officially had a broken toe? Was that not worth it?"
No, because I knew what I did. I knew what it was going to be, and then they said, "Can I get some fun painkillers or something?" They go, "I can give you Tylenol." I go, "I got that at home."
Yeah. You know what I get? I get the you need a school note. No, sir, I don't.
Yeah.
I am an adult. But thank you.
Well, Dave, you're in good humor nonetheless, even though you're playing in pain. So we do appreciate it.
Thanks. I'll make it. I'll make it through at least hopefully a few more days.
All right. Well, it is time for the high five play of the day. And I like this one a lot. In fact, I got to experience this one this morning as well. It's very, very cool. The high five play of the day is brought to you appropriately by High Five, 2 locations in Austin with so much going on. Great big screen TVs everywhere so you can watch sports, including the Cowboys and the Bucks if you go there on Thursday night. Food, drinks, drink specials, food specials, and games galore, whether it's bowling, laser tag, axe throwing. They got it all going on at High Five. 2 locations in Austin. Shannon's been to that place. You may see her there.
And I know it's a short week, so people are thrown off on what day it is. It is Wednesday, which is all night happy hour at High Five. So a fantastic little, go there tonight, feel it out, find your spot, head back on Thursday to watch that Cowboys-Bucks game. All right, today's High Five, it might be a cop-out because it was a trending topic yesterday, and a lot of people ended up seeing it on Hard Knocks, but I just loved it so much that I wanted to highlight it even more. Dak Prescott trending yesterday afternoon as a teaser video for last night's episode of Hard Knocks was released via NFL Films on Twitter. Seeing Dak Prescott trending this close to game 1 is not always something I want to see. Right, because it typically be one of 2 ways. Something's happened, something's gone horribly wrong, or he said something else again that talking about his confidence. But no, it was for this teaser clip that ended up being just a snippet of what we ended up getting from Hard Knocks in the full episode. But Dak Prescott met a very special fan last night on Hard Knocks. Aiden, the son of Trayvon Diggs. Aiden was featured earlier in the season, cheering on his dad, being just an excited NFL fan, and an excited and very positive attitude and just happy kid. But he was sitting in an ice cream shop with his grandmother and his dad talking about his favorite quarterback is Dak Prescott. He's wearing Dak Prescott's jersey. They're really hyping it up. And then what do you know? Dak Prescott walks in, right? Who would have thought? Cameras there, no one else in the shop. They happen to be talking about him. He's wearing the jersey. And then Dak Prescott shows up. But Aiden, a little confused, a little shocked, a little maybe starstruck, wanted to confirm that it was Dak Prescott. And so he asked him if he was Patrick Mahomes. And that to Dak maybe hurt his soul just a little bit. But then he said, no, you're Dak Prescott. So nice to see you. He kept saying, so nice to see you. I think he maybe had a lack of words. It was a really great, heartwarming moment. Dak, great with kids. Was talkative to him. He said, no, Patrick Mahomes you've got the Patrick Mahomes haircut, but you're wearing my jersey. He then gave him another jersey, a white Cowboys jersey that he signed. And he even wrote, not Patrick Mahomes, for him to hang in his bedroom. And then they went outside and played catch. And that's something that kid, whether his dad continues to play for the Cowboys or not, will remember for a lifetime. that he got to play some catch with Mr. Dak Prescott. I just thought it was a fantastic moment, really heartwarming. I love to see Dak, and I love to see players like that too, right? Whenever they, they're walking to and from the bus, they go out of their way to give a high five or take a selfie with the fan. I just love those moments. So a high five to the Diggs family for their support of their son who plays for the Cowboys, and the support of Mr. Aiden to see his dream come true and get to meet his favorite quarterback, Dak Prescott. And of course, kudos to Dak for taking the time.
Very cool. And were we going to run some of the audio on that or not? Did we? Maybe I misunderstood. Oh yeah, we got some audio. So yeah, let's go. Let's go get that moment. This is a little bit of that moment, and you hear young Aiden meeting Dak Prescott. Here it is from Hard Knocks.
That's how fast.
Come on, let's go.
I want to care for Dak Prescott. He's my favorite quarterback in my whole entire world.
Wow, yes.
I want his phone number.
What you gonna say to him? What's up?
Hi.
What's up, big man?
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
What's your name?
Aiden.
Aiden?
So, you're Patrick Mahomes.
You think I'm Patrick Mahomes still? Whose jersey is this?
I mean, not Patrick Mahomes, or you're Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
So, good to see you.
So good to see you.
We can't keep getting me and Patrick confused.
Yeah, you got.
I don't have the hair. He's got the hair.
So,
He's got the hair like you.
Dak Prescott.
I'm Dak Prescott.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, Aiden, absolutely adorable kid. I love that kid.
I hope we get more of Aiden throughout the season with
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, his favorite quarterback. Take that, Tom Brady.
Well, and what's so cool, as you mentioned, so Dak, and I'm sure Jerry Jones loved this. He had a bag from the Cowboys store that he had his jersey in. So he gave Aiden wearing a blue jersey. Now, if I were there at the ice cream shop, I said, Aiden, let me tell you about the blue jersey jinx. So, however, Dak did have a white jersey that Dak presented Aiden, and as you mentioned, he said, "I'm going to sign it I'm going to write not Patrick Mahomes and autograph it," which I thought was very, very funny on Dak's part.
Yeah, I loved it, and because I know you have this thing with the blue jerseys, and
Yes,
for very good reason.
Well, and as do the Cowboys have a thing, but yes,
and I've never owned a NFL jersey because or really much of any jersey because expense, right? The Texas jersey I have, I bought in the off season for half price. That's the only reason I have it. But if I were to buy one, I think I would heavily consider the blue just because of like the color and the fact that I think it's a little more recognizable when you see it out in public. Right? Because if you're wearing white and say you go to an away game or something and then the other team, like all their people are wearing, you blend in. I want people to know that I'm a Cowboys fan.
But see, it is the white jersey that is iconic.
I like the white. They're clean.
It's the iconic Cowboys look. And it was. And Jerry, I mean, this is part of why Jerry Jones has $5 billion and I don't. You know, Jerry realized that, when he came in as owner, he really pushed the blue jersey in addition to the white jersey. And again, this goes all the way back to Tex Schramm, who decided, back in the day, home teams would wear their colors. So if Tex Schramm in the Landry era did not make this decision, he decided he wanted the Cowboys to wear whites at home, which was unusual in the NFL at the time. And he had two reasons. Number one, they played in the Cotton Bowl where much of the season it was hot in Texas, and the players who are wearing their colored jerseys, the temperature in the body temperature is a degree or two higher. So it's a little harder on a hot day if you're wearing a colored jersey than a white jersey. But secondly, what he wanted to do, and the Cowboys were trying to break through with their fans when they first came online in 1960. But he wanted Cowboys fans to see the opposing team's colors. It's like we're wearing the white, with our metallic blue pants. But we want you to see the other team's colors. So it kind of caught on, and the Cowboys typically at home wore white. And then for whatever the reason on the road, the road teams started wanting the Cowboys to wear their blue jerseys. And that's where they started losing big games in the blue jerseys. And many years ago, I had Mr. Cowboy, Bob Lilly, on the radio with me, and I've still got the audio. And I said, Bob, tell me, let me know, was there a blue jersey jinx? And Bob Lilly said, yes, there was. It always seemed like we used to lose in those blue jerseys. Now, with you, Shannon, I brought it up to Drew Pearson on this show.
Yeah.
Drew Pearson will have none of it. Drew Pearson says, nope, no blue jersey jinx. So, so two Cowboy greats disagree on that.
Now, in your mind, is there a way to break the jinx? Is the only way for the Cowboys to break the blue jersey jinx is to go to a Super Bowl, play in those jerseys, and then win the whole thing? Is that the only way in your mind to break that jinx?
I think it would. And the only time, it's funny you should bring that up, the only time the Cowboys played a Super Bowl in blue jerseys was Super Bowl V, and they lose to the Baltimore Colts on January 17th, 1971. 16-13. And it was a game they should have won. Dwayne Thomas fumbles at the 1 yard line. There were a lot of crazy bad plays and fumbles and Cowboys should have won that game by more than 10 points, and they gave it away because they were wearing the blue jerseys.
Wow.
And Craig Morton was the quarterback for the Cowboys that day, and there was a dude on the bench named Roger Staubach. If only Landry would have started Roger 1 year early, they would have probably, if Roger's on the field that day instead of Craig Morton of the Cowboys, I think the Cowboys win that game. Not that I can't let it go, Shannon.
Yeah.
Not that I'm bitter.
We
1971.
need to
That
bring
was
a therapist on this show.
50 years ago.
I mean, we probably should have one scheduled for tomorrow since the Cowboys will be wearing blue.
50 years ago, and I can't let it go.
If they win tomorrow, will that change anything for you?
And yeah, and for people listening, yes, they are scheduled to wear blue jerseys tomorrow. I will. Well, and I always get this, Shannon. They'll win a game in the blue jerseys, and people go, "See, Chris, see, there's no blue jersey." A jinx is a trend. It's not an absolute. Just like the Sports Illustrated curse.
True.
It's like, wow, Dak's on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Hey, they
he was
won
cursed last season. His curse, he already.
Yeah, that's it.
We didn't know he was going to get this cover, but that's what it was.
It's a retroactive curse. But yeah, no, a curse or a jinx is a trend. It is not an absolute. So, but you bring up, if the Cowboys win a Super Bowl in the blue jerseys, I would then say the blue jersey jinx is put to bed.
Okay, now, so I want to keep going on this. They go to a Super Bowl. They get the choice, blue or white. Do you say, let's go blue to try and reverse the curse and then we never have to deal with it again? Or do you go white because you think it's a more sure thing to win the Super Bowl?
I would never choose blue jerseys. I would go with the white because, I mean, look how long it's been. January of 1996 since we were at our last Super Bowl. So I wouldn't mess with it. But, sometimes that's chosen for you. So, wow. We covered a lot in that first hour. Oh, my gosh. Coming up next, prophecy. Shannon and I will go on the record and predict the final standings in the American Football Conference.
I'm going to go shopping during this break, Chris.
And
don't
what,
be
get a
stunned
blue
if I have a
jersey?
new outfit when I come back.
Oh, my God. Don't wear a blue jersey. AFC predictions next. Bill Schoening, Salty Shakedown also in the 7 o'clock hour. Bill Schoening coming up at 8. Don't go anywhere. Lots coming at you on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Woo! Christopher Sanchez, good morning. Beth Settle, welcome in, Beth. Don Haas Holding. Don says, real football, hated the loss, but remember messing with the rabbit ears to get some sort of picture on the old black and white throughout the game. In fact, a dreadful field goal was kicked. I was the left rabbit ear. Eric Taylor, welcome in. Eric citing the Chicago Cubs curse. Yeah, and Don, you were asking about the sports bar. It is High Five. Okay. Oh, I have to record some spots. Hey, Dave, I've got to record some spots here. I'm just letting you know. Thanks, sir. Where's my copy for the spots? Where is my copy? There it is. Amy, just like AMY. Amy, yeah. So that is, and that's a huge controversy. I saw one of our sponsors. Okay. Check. 1 2 1 2. That works. Every time I do that, I wonder, why do we always count? Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. So weird. All right. Thank you, Foamfoot 420. I am going to muteth myself so you don't have to put up with all this. Okay. So they want me to cite specifics. All right. I'm going to go on mute for a few and I'll be right back. All right. I mute myself so 'cause I screw up multiple times when I'm recording 5 spots in a row. There's multiple screw ups and I'm self-conscious about them. So from a distance, my NFL picks. Woo! Woo! Shannon has hers all typed up. Mine are not typed up yet. Shannon's going to do her big jersey reveal here in a moment on video. Woo! Robert Armstrong says, funny about the blue jersey jinx. UT has had some troubles winning when they wear all white uniforms, or as they are more commonly known as the Icy Whites. Yeah, when I see those blue jerseys roll out for the Cowboys, I cringe. Here we go. Woo! Woo! Cool jersey.
Now, Chris Duel.
The holy sacrament of NFL football. And there's no better brand of NFL football than Dallas Cowboys football. The holy sacrament of NFL Dallas Cowboys football is only a day away. Okay, a day and a night. I know, 24 hours from now, it'll be Thursday. It'll be the 7 o'clock hour, and we'll still have to wait about another 12 hours after that. So kickoff's at about 7:20 tomorrow night. So about 36 hours and maybe 13 minutes away. Not that I'm counting. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. And see, this is why you want to be on the live video feed. You see stuff that you can't necessarily see on the radio. Shannon, you did a wardrobe. Oh, my goodness. Look at you. Not just a football jersey. You got a helmet. Wow.
It doesn't work with headphones, but I
No.
did bring a helmet in here just to really get me in the mood.
Woo! You are hardcore.
Yeah, listen. It's the Jason Witten jersey.
Yes.
He was at one point my favorite. He's probably still my favorite Cowboy. I just wish we could maybe erase the last couple of seasons he played and then that whole ESPN stint. But still a great Cowboy nonetheless. If I were to ever purchase one of my own, because this one's a little big on me, I'd probably go for a Jason Witten because he is a Hall of Famer.
True. He's a surefire, I would think, a first ballot Hall of Famer.
It'll last forever.
Now, whose Jason Witten jersey is that you're wearing? Who owns that?
This was supposed to be a promotional item for the station because it was supposed to be signed as a planned giveaway, and they sent it to us, and it was not signed. So I said, send me a signed one. So they did. So this is just kind of extra.
Woo!
And I put it on from time to time for videos and things like that. Because again,
and that's very big of you, having been the promotions director at one time. You could have just said, hey, that jersey's extra. I'm a Cowboys fan. That's my favorite Cowboy. This jersey is now mine.
Yeah, it's an XL. Maybe if it was my size, I would have been that person. But
I wonder if you could get it tailored. I wonder if you could go to like a tailor shop and have a tailor.
It might work as like a dress or something. If I were to like wear, I'm not one of those people though, like who gets dressed up for games like that. I have to have team colors. I have to have team logos, team name, and I have to wear pants because after so many beers, you can't. In a dress, I'm not going to be trusted with that.
Well, and we now know that you have to wear shoes. So because we now know you're not going to be barefoot during the game.
Generally, they frown upon people not wearing shoes to stadiums. But I'm always,
I thought you meant
to dress code. Yeah.
I thought you meant like at a party, watching the game on TV.
Oh, same.
Okay.
Same. Yeah.
Okay.
People ask me to take my shoes off in their house. I'm like, are you sure? I'll just stay out here.
Now, we just learned something about you that I don't think I knew this before. You said Jason Witten is my favorite Cowboy. So is he, of all time, your favorite Cowboy, Jason Witten?
Yeah. And he was
Wow.
big on my fantasy too. Like I always had him, except for those last couple of years. Was always like the guy I targeted and wanted to have on my team. Like the emotional pick.
Yeah.
That attachment. I believe in you.
I've had some of those over the years.
And with Tony Romo, like he was the TD safety blanket.
Mm-hmm.
So he did well for me. In those
Very,
few
very
years.
true. Now, of course, my all-time favorite Cowboy is Roger Staubach. Now, Dave Ayler, just got to ask you, I know you're not a Cowboys fan. You're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So, therefore, I must ask you, who is your favorite Pittsburgh Steeler of all time?
Well, I thought you were going to ask me who my favorite Cowboy
I'll
was.
ask you that, too.
Okay.
Okay. You hate the Cowboys, but there's got to be one that if you could meet a Cowboy you like, it's just like if you ask me the question about the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'd probably say I like Terry Bradshaw. I'd probably go, I'm old school. I'd probably go Terry Bradshaw or Mean Joe Green. One of the two. Mean Joe Green, of course, a Texas guy from North Texas.
But my favorite Cowboy would have to be Leon Lett, just because of the Thanksgiving game. So I'd have to go up and shake his hand for that one.
Oh, so he's your favorite because he screwed up.
Exactly.
Great.
And as far as my favorite Pittsburgh Steeler, boy, that's a toss-up. Mean Joe Green's high on the list.
Nice.
Jack Lambert is high on the list. Troy Polamalu, huge fan of
Trojan.
of Troy.
You don't want to do a TikTok Juju?
Sure. Juju's all right. I don't have any problems with Juju.
I just like
He's farther down the list, though.
Juju.
I hate Jack Lambert. I hate his guts. In Super Bowl 10, I know we're getting to our AFC picks, but in Super Bowl 10, Shannon, and Dave may or may not know about this because it's before both of your times, but Roy Girella, the kicker for the Steelers in Super Bowl 10, early in the game, misses a field goal. And Cliff Harris, who was just inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Cliff Harris runs up to Roy Girella, pats him on the helmet, says, "Way to go, man. Thank you." And big old number 58, Jack Lambert, who was like twice the size of defensive back Cliff Harris, picks up Cliff Harris and just body slams him into the ground. No penalty. No flag on Jack Lambert for that. It was 1976. So no flag for ever since then. And that kind of shifted momentum in that game. Cowboys, an early Roger to Drew Pearson touchdown pass in that game of 29 yards. And then Girella misses the field goal. Cowboys were underdogs in that game. They kind of had some momentum when Jack Lambert body slammed Cliff Harris into the turf after the missed field goal. That kind of shifted momentum. It fired up the Steelers. And I hate to say this, it kind of intimidated the Cowboys a little bit.
But Jack Lambert was known for body slamming many, many people in his time.
What were they wearing the blue jerseys?
No, that was white jerseys that day. That was white jerseys. But they had the bicentennial patch. It was 1976, the bicentennial
I remember
year,
those jerseys.
and they had a little bicentennial patch. All right. But I digress. All right, Shannon, before we start our hardcore, big-time, serious NFL AFC prediction music, are we? I know we're going to pick records. Are we going to reveal playoffs, or are we going to do that tomorrow? I mean, how do you want to do that?
Do you want to do like the AFC? We can reveal like our contender all the way up to our contender, right? And then tomorrow after we reveal the NFC contender, then we can announce.
So you're talking about Super Bowl? So
go all the way through this.
Okay, so sorry. So we'll go through the AFC playoffs after we do regular season.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got you. All right.
I hope I did this right.
Well, no, you did.
numbers
Well, and
involved.
see, you typed yours up. I will type mine up tomorrow when we reveal the full thing. Mine is still just kind of handwritten, but I mean that's why you're much more neater than I am.
Took me longer. I was like the math, and then yeah.
Oh, by the way, I did my picks yesterday by a pool while drinking beer. So nothing like doing your NFL
I
picks.
will hold that against you later on in the season, should I need to.
Well, drunk and in the sun, poolside. So I'm sure these are going to be right on. All right, Dave Ayler, hit us up with some NFL music. Oh yeah, that is to an NFL fan what a synthesizer is to a porn enthusiast.
Forget more cowbell. Give me more tuba.
More tuba. Thank you. Original NFL Films music. What division would you like to start with, Shannon?
I've got AFC North at the top of my list. So
Let's go AFC North.
Go AFC North.
Sure.
All right. Am I going first?
Yeah, you go, then I'll go.
Okay. I've got the Steelers winning it all.
Oh,
Just for Dave, I guess. 11-6 on the season. I don't think they'll go 11-0 at any point in the season.
no.
But 11-6 total, 4-2 in the division. They're gonna get that automatic bid for the playoffs.
You
Keep
care
going?
Yeah. Who else do we have?
Okay. Following, we've got the Ravens. I think it's hard with those recent injuries they've had, especially in the running back room. But I believe in Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to carry them to a 10-7 record, 3-3 in the division. I believe I also have them going to the wild card round with that record. Following, I've got the Browns, which I never thought I'd ever see the day where they weren't in dead last in their division, but they've proven that they're capable of getting wins. And so I've got them with 9-8, again, going 3-3 in the division. And then finally the Bengals, 6-11. I think they will be better than last year. Joe Burrow coming in off in his second season. But there's still a lot they've got to work on. That organization is dysfunctional, even more so off the field than they are on the field. So I have very little belief, and I think they'll go 1-5 in the division.
All right, man. My division is a lot different than yours. Flip number 1 and flip number 3 because I've got Baker Mayfield leading the Cleveland Browns to an 11-6 record. So they take the division. I believe in Lamar Jackson as well, and I have Baltimore in the same position as you do in the division. I got Baltimore at 10-7, and that is good for a wild card berth. Pittsburgh, I've got him just at 9-8. Ben Roethlisberger, a year older, and the team just not. They're not going to get off to that crazy win streak like they did last year. Cincinnati, that's a mess of a franchise. Joe Burrow's a good quarterback, but 4-13 for the Cincinnati Bengals. So Cleveland wins the division, but Baltimore goes to the playoffs. What's the next division?
Now for the Steelers, I want to ask you real quick because you said, what did you say, 9-6?
9-8.
9-8.
Yeah.
Do you see, because Ben, the whole thing, look how healthy he is. He's got a new diet, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think he makes it through the whole season?
I do not, especially at his age. I think
wasn't enough at this point.
No, I think he'll get banged up a little bit, and I think he'll miss some games.
To me, that's the kicker. I have it with him, even if he drags it out, even if he's crawling to the finish line, that he does make it through the season, but it's just not enough.
Okay.
But enough to win that division. All right. I've got AFC South next. You good with that?
Fine with me.
All right. I've got the Titans winning this one, 12-5. Also convenient maybe that they've gone through their COVID bout like in a pretty big way earlier on, so maybe they don't have to deal with it. It's odd to kind of take that into consideration, but for this purpose I did. Following that, I have the Colts at 8-9. I think there's still a lot of questions around quarterback and Carson Wentz, and obviously him not being vaccinated and some T.Y. Hilton being out. It's not that he's a superstar on that team as much as he once was, but he's still an impact player when he is on the field, and of course he's out for a while with an injury. And then it was a toss-up. Who do I want to be in last place, the Jaguars or the Texans? Because I don't see either of them faring very well. But I went with the Jaguars in third with 4-13, and the Texans at 3-14. I think the Jaguars get the better of the Texans in the division, so that's where they fell into third place there.
My division rank order is the same as yours, but the records are a little different. I've got Tennessee not as good as you do. I've got them at 10-7, but that's good enough to take the division. Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, I think Carson Wentz, I think, is a mess on multiple levels. I think he's going to implode a little bit this year. Maybe Sam Ehlinger comes back and makes some noise. Who knows? I got Indianapolis at 9-8. I think they're just going to flounder around 500. Jacksonville Jaguars in third. They'll win a few games. I've got them at 6-11. I think Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence, and Urban Meyer, they'll have their moments. About 6-11 for them. Interestingly, you and I both have Houston at 3-14. Sports Illustrated has them at 1-16, and some people are picking Houston to go 0-17. I think Houston, as much as they want to get the number 1 draft pick and go get Spencer Rattler next year, I think they're still going to accidentally win a few games in spite of themselves.
Right.
Probably split with Jacksonville, maybe even win opening day at NRG against Jacksonville. So I got 3-13 for Houston. Tennessee winning the division, the only team, no wild card teams coming out of that division.
All right.
Woo!
All right. AFC East.
Yes.
You ready? This is my favorite. Thanks to Mitch Morse, the starting center for the Buffalo
Morse,
Bills. So
everybody.
I have the Bills winning the division as well. 15-2, going 6-0 in the division.
15-2.
That's right.
My
Bills
God.
Mafia. You know what? I'm gonna get me a Mitch Morris jersey. All right. I'm gonna get me. That's
You
the.
should. He's
I'm
your
gonna get a
bud.
Bills jersey before a
Yeah.
Cowboys jersey. The Bills going 15-2 to win the division as well as clinch a playoff berth. All right, and then I've got the Patriots coming in second in the division, 8-9. I don't know about this Mac Jones situation. Clearly, they believe in him enough to get him and be okay with Cam asking for a release and them not having any sort of pushback. I think last year they also were without a lot of players due to them opting out. So I think they'll be back to a little bit better strength, but still not the Patriots we used to once know. And I'm still okay with that. I'm good with them being down in the dumps for a little bit longer. At 5-12, I have the Dolphins. They're a bit of a mess. They're probably needing a quarterback not named Tua, but I don't think it's going to come this season. So I think they'll have around 5-12 before they make a quarterback change going to the next year. And then the Jets, I think they'll fare better than last season, which isn't too hard to do, right? They only had 2 wins, I believe, on that season. So I think they'll go 4-13 with their new man, but still really kind of embarrassing overall.
Wow, I've got the same rank order, but I do. I got the same rank order in the division, but different numbers. I don't have Buffalo at 15-2, which I think is an amazing pick. It'll be interesting to see if they can.
Division they're in, man.
Well, but
That's 6 games right there.
Yeah, they're going to split with the Patriots, and they're going to stumble against Miami or the Jets once. I got Buffalo at 11-6. They'll win that division. They're the best in the division, but I don't see them at 15-2. That'll be a fun one to track throughout the season. I am much higher on the Patriots than you are. Bill Belichick getting some guys back that he didn't have last year. They opted out because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones, I believe he's going to safely manage that Patriots offense. I think the Patriots go 10-7, and that is going to be good enough for a wild card. So Belichick and Mac Jones are going to lead the Patriots to the playoffs. Miami in third at 8-9, kind of floundering. I agree with you. They've got issues, and they really need to solve their quarterback issues. Jets, I think you have them at 4-13. So do I. Jets kind of just a game better than the 3-14 Houston Texans would be the Jets. So that's my AFC East.
All right. Finally, the AFC West. I've got the Chiefs winning this division 14-3. I think they'll stumble a little bit within their division 4-2. Overall, I think this is a strong division. Chiefs still look to be the top of it for me. The Chargers, I've got them going 11-6. I don't know if that's my belief in Justin Herbert. He just had a feature article written about him, and I read it, and I don't know, maybe that came into play here as I was making my picks, but 11-6 for the Chargers, followed by the Broncos at 10-7, and the Raiders at 7-13. I think this is the last year for Derek Carr, and I don't know about Gruden, but because they gave him such a weird contract. I don't know how much longer they let him go. I think they maybe get rid of Mayock at the end of the season because things just aren't going well. And when you move to a new city and you're trying to, kind of bring up a fan base, you've got the new stadium, you got to have some wins under your belt. And I don't think they get enough this year.
Yeah, I've got the Raiders in last in that division as well. I want to see the Raiders succeed. I like Gruden.
Yeah, got nothing against them.
It'd be fun in Las Vegas to see that franchise blow up in Las Vegas in a good way. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs at 14-3. That will be the best record in the AFC, and so they will have home field throughout the Super Bowl run. So that's second. I've got the LA Chargers. I believe in Justin Herbert as well. I've got them at 10-7. That is good enough for a wild card. So they will get to the playoffs with that 10-7 record. Denver 8-9. Again, just about a 500 team, and I've got them even under 500. And Las Vegas Raiders 7-10 is my prediction for them. So it's very similar to where you have them, and we both have them last in that division. So
I'm seeing on mine. See, this is where my math. I was good on math until I'm looking at my Raiders prediction. Mine should say 7-10. It says 7-13 because
they'll play 20-game schedule. They're cool. Yeah. That's why not. It's Vegas, baby.
Gruden goes hard.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and those are those extra games. So all right, so it's time for the playoffs.
There we go.
Give me your wild card round. I'll give you mine. Then we'll go divisional round, and then we'll go AFC Championship game. Right. So first round of the playoffs from Shannon Salty Sweeney.
Wild card. Well, I've got the Bills that go to the divisional, so that means the Chiefs are in the wild card round. It'll be the Chiefs over the Broncos, the Titans over the Ravens, and the Chargers over the Steelers.
Very cool. My wild card round, your Buffalo Bills, led by center Mitch Morse. While you watch the game wearing his jersey, they beat the Chargers in the first round, so Buffalo will advance. Cleveland versus New England. This is going to be fun. Baker Mayfield versus Belichick, and Cleveland gets it done and advances to the next round. And finally, Baltimore defeats Tennessee. Lamar Jackson over Ryan Tannehill in the wild card round. So that's my wild card round in the AFC.
All right. AFC Divisional Round. I've got the Bills over the Chargers and the Chiefs over the Titans.
Very nice. My AFC Divisional Round, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs over the Baltimore Ravens, and a heartbreak for Shannon Salty Sweeney as Baker Mayfield leads the Cleveland Browns, a team Shannon didn't even pick to go to the playoffs. The Cleveland Browns beat the Buffalo Bills, and I believe that game is in Buffalo. They go into Buffalo and beat the Bills. Baker Mayfield, all cocky, walking off the field in the ice. So, yeah, that's my divisional round.
Have a wild imagination.
Well, I was drinking when I did these picks, so I just point that out.
One of those, I've done that where I've like, I've had a couple beverages, I'm doing something like this, and then you get to the end, like, these numbers don't look like anything the same. Not that I'm saying that that's what you did, but in where I'm sitting, Baker Mayfield over Josh Allen.
I know. In Buffalo.
From the same draft class.
Yeah, in Buffalo.
Given what they've done, it's hard to believe for me.
All right.
Right here. All right, AFC Championship. I got the Bills over the Chiefs, which means the Bills Mafia heading to the Super Bowl. They are the true team that is headed out west. They are going cross country for this year's Super Bowl. # Bills Mafia.
Congratulations, center Mitch Morse, childhood friend of Shannon Salty Sweeney.
I just want him to get a ring so I can wear it.
Exactly. She'll be wearing his jersey. In my AFC Championship game, it's at Arrowhead Stadium. It's that dream matchup. The two dudes from Texas, Patrick Mahomes versus Baker Mayfield. Can Mayfield do it 2 weeks in a row? He goes into Buffalo and he beats the Bills. No way. Kansas City will annihilate the Cleveland Browns in the AFC Championship game, returning to the Super Bowl for the third year in a row. And Meatloaf says 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Cleveland Browns. Chiefs go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC.
I love Pat Mahomes, but man, dude's got it all.
I know.
Save some for the rest of the folk out there.
I'm starting to get sick. I'm starting I'm feeling the Brady thing I felt before I flipped on Brady and started liking him after he turned 40. So, all right, you got the Bills. I got the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. Tomorrow we will do the NFC, and then and we'll also have Super Bowl picks tomorrow. How's that for timing? We actually did that in the correct amount of time.
Perfect.
We didn't go over.
Yes.
Woo! And fuego. And it just gets better. The Salty Shakedown is coming at you next. We've got this day in sports history, sports birthdays, top of the hour, Bill Schoening. We'll talk Longhorn football. We'll talk NFL football, and we'll talk some Spurs and NBA action. Spurs made a move. They brought a guy back yesterday, so lots to talk about. We'll probably talk music with Bill Schoening because he is a music guru as well. But Salty Shakedown, sports history, sports birthdays next. She's the salty one, Shannon Sweeney, wearing the Jason Witten jersey this morning. Wearing the plain T-shirt with the broken toe is Dave Ayler. I'm Chris, with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. I'm going to try to bang out some spots one more time. I got 5 more spots to go. Thanks. All right, let me see this. So that week, it's going to be Texas Tech. Is that at DKR? It is on the 25th of September. All right, let's do this thing. Robert Browning back from Indonesia, joining us again from Indonesia, back in Japan this weekend. Robert, I'm serious, dude. I would love to interview you on the radio before and after you climb Mount Fuji. So email me, Robert. Let's see, Sonia says, last thing I concur, there is absolutely a blue jersey curse. Thank you, Sonia. Sonia Rowland is with me on the blue jersey curse. All right, I am going to mute this so you don't hear me screwing up 5 different commercials. I do it to spare you. I do it to spare you the anguish and the living hell. So I'll come off of mute once I record. I got 5 30-second commercials I got to record. I'll be right back. All right. I got 5. Nobody got hurt, as far as I know. All righty. Now, I need that. Let's see. I want to. Thank you. And get out! Sonia, how are you doing? Sonia, I had no idea that was you. Sonia is my good friend from the Air Force Academy. My God, that was 1979 to 1981. Wow. Yeah, Sonia, we got to talk sometime, for goodness sake. There's a Facebook page, Sonia, that I'm a member of. It's the class of 83 at the Air Force Academy's Facebook page. It's kind of cool. You get a lot of information in there on your former classmates and people you know. But definitely get in touch with me, Sonia. I would love to talk to you. I'll put my email in here at the bottom in a second.
Let's get back to the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Find Chris and Salty on Twitter at Chris Duel and at Shannon B. Sweeney.
Welcome back. It is the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. And I love the live feed. Somebody just jumped in there who I knew many, many years ago. She was a classmate of mine at, believe it or not, the Air Force Academy. Before I went to USC for 2 years, I was a cadet at the Air Force Academy. And Sonia Rowland jumped in there. Sonia and I went through cadet basic training together. We knew each other way back in the day. Welcome in, Sonia, on the live video feed. You can join us there via Facebook Live, Ticket 760 or AM 1300 The Zone's Facebook page. Also, there's a link through YouTube and Sonia's joining us through YouTube and through Twitch. So join us on the live video feed. All right, we got Bill Schoening, who is always entertaining and enlightening and fun. We're going to talk all kinds of sports and more with Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, previously longtime voice of the Texas Longhorns. He's going to join us at the top of the hour. We are moments away from your midweek. And I know people, it's a short week, so it doesn't seem like midweek, but yes, it is. Your Wednesday edition of Shannon's Salty Shakedown is moments away. But first, how about some sports birthdays? And how about this day in sports history? September 8th, 1965, the Kansas City A's, Bert Campaneris, known as Campy Campaneris, played all 9 positions in one game. I got to go look that one up. That's crazy. Played all 9 positions in one baseball game for the Kansas City A's. Of course, they became the Oakland A's. And I remember Bert Campaneris was on that Oakland A's team that beat the Cincinnati Reds in the 1972 World Series in 7 games, 4-3. I was a little kid watching that series, and I remember Campy Campaneris. I didn't like him because I was pulling for the Cincinnati Reds at that time. This day in 1973, Billy Martin is named the manager of the Texas Rangers. It didn't work out that well for Billy and the Rangers. And Billy, of course, most known for being the manager and fired multiple times and brought back by George Steinbrenner and the New York Yankees. On this day in 1979, the U.S. Open women's tennis final, Tracy Austin becomes the youngest U.S. tennis champion. She beat Chris Everett 6'4", 6'3". Tracy Austin was 16 years old, and she won it. 16 years, 9 months old. And Chris Everett was she and Martina Navratilova at the time were just on top of the women's tennis world. It was amazing for Tracy Austin to do that. And finally, on this day in 2002, a dark day for Cowboys fans. And yes, they were wearing the blue jerseys on opening night. It was the Houston Texans' first game ever. So the Cowboys come strolling in their blue jerseys, and rookie quarterback David Carr throws for 2 touchdowns as the Houston Texans beat the Dallas Cowboys. Emmitt Smith was in the backfield that night for Dallas. 19-10, Texans beat the Cowboys to become only the second expansion team to win their inaugural game. The Minnesota Vikings won their first game ever in 1961. That's sports history. How about some sports birthdays? I asked Dave Ayler who his favorite Pittsburgh Steeler was. He said Mean Joe Green. Well, alongside Mean Joe Green on that Steeler line was a man born today in 1946 in Canton, Mississippi, L.C. Greenwood. He was a bad dude, L.C. I didn't like him because he was a Steeler, and they kept beating the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. L.C. Greenwood, Canton, Mississippi, 1946 on this day. Sadly, he passed away in 2013. Born on this day in 1956, NBA guard Maurice Cheeks. He was with the Knicks, the Sixers, had a cup of coffee with the Spurs. Maurice Cheeks, born in Chicago, Illinois on this day in 1956. Finally, born on this day in 1990, I liked him briefly, and I now hate him. Garrett Cole, who was with the Houston Astros. He's a turncoat. He's a traitor. He betrayed the Houston Astros and our fan base. And take that, Garrett Cole. I'm wearing an Astros cap this morning. Suck it, Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole was born today in 1990 in Newport Beach, California. Very swanky Southern California town, Newport Beach. I do believe he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. You dirtbag, Garrett Cole. Not that I can't let it go that you went to the.
I don't know if he can hear you over all of that money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Garrett. Oh yeah, Chris Duel doesn't like me. Yeah, I'll have a few more million. Throw some more millions at me in the Brinks truck. Happy birthday, Garrett Cole. May it be a bad year for you. Maurice Cheeks and the late L.C. Greenwood. That's your sports birthdays. That's your sports history. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're behind the wheel of a car, both hands on the wheel, take a deep breath. Here it is. Your salty shakedown.
All right. Well, I got to throw some basketball in there because we do have Mr. Bill Schoening coming on later today. So we'll start right there in the basketball world and also the broadcasting world. As Paul Pierce is back in the news, he did an interview of sorts in which he talked about his time at ESPN. Of course, the pair parted ways, I believe it was earlier this year. A lot of it had to do with a video that he put out on Instagram. It was a live Instagram. He did not realize that people could record that live and then share it later. Either way, he shared a video of himself with some models, and some people took offense. But he said in this interview, I didn't do anything illegal. And there are a lot of people who have a lot of jobs with big responsibilities, and they're in charge of a lot of people, and they make important decisions, and they've done far, far worse. And he said he also didn't realize that the video would be saved and shared, and that, it would spread the way it did. He said it was kind of the final straw between him and ESPN. They'd already had some differences between them that they didn't really care for. He really was not into the travel that they made him do. They also felt apparently like he wasn't doing enough work, like they were paying him a lot of money and that they wanted him to do more, and he just wasn't willing to. So in this interview, he also said that he really had a problem with the topics that ESPN made him discuss. He said that they want LeBron all the time. And Chris, this is what I found interesting, because I get it from an ESPN standpoint of LeBron is the guy. He does everything. There's never a moment where you can't, if it's a slow day, you just find a LeBron topic. There's one out there for you to discuss. But as a guy who is pretty fresh off of his NBA career, right, and played against LeBron a lot, and a guy who is heading to the Hall of Fame himself, I can get why he would be upset when everything is LeBron all the time, when he's been a player and he knows some of the backstories of some of the greater stories or stories that we're not even aware of because they're maybe a bench player or they're just not a guy who's big on social media or something to that nature that he probably could have added as a guy who was fresh from the league and a guy who played years and years in the league and at the level that he did. So I found that pretty interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's other people, specifically players that come from a league. I would even imagine guys who work for that network who are from the NFL, kind of like having to talk about Tom Brady all the time. Like there are so many other guys that deserve the light. Not that guys like Tom Brady and LeBron don't, but there's so much more that those players could probably offer as analysts. As why bring them in otherwise? Why not just get somebody else to talk LeBron when it's stuff we already know? So I was just curious what you thought about Paul Pierce saying that one of his beefs that he had with ESPN was that they told him it's LeBron all day, every day.
Well, he's got to realize, and Shannon, you know this from radio, they tell you whether it's talk or music, play the hits. For us, for our audience, the hits are the Texas Longhorns, the Dallas Cowboys, the San Antonio Spurs, and others. If Kobe were alive and playing, they'd also say, talk Kobe. And you said it, for ESPN's audience, LeBron moves the needle. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys always move the needle, even when they lose, to talk about him. So I can understand Paul Pierce being aggravated by it, but people love and hate LeBron. When you talk about him, it moves the needle. So I think Paul Pierce, if he wants to continue doing this, he's got to kind of get with the program.
Yeah. And I think at this point, I think we all know LeBron isn't going to be in the league that much longer. Does that mean he'll fade completely? Absolutely not. But from a basketball standpoint, you probably won't have to talk about him as often as being, the dominant guy, the guy everyone wants to watch. He won't. He makes the playoffs. You just had to hold on a little longer, Paul Pierce. But we'll see. Maybe he'll join another crew to see him back on our TV screens. But right now, I think he's just looking forward to the Hall of Fame. All right. The U.S. men's national team is campaigning right now to make it to the World Cup, Chris. They did not qualify the last go-round. You'll notice they were absent during the Olympics because they did not qualify for that either. So it's very important that they qualify for these games. And so far, they've only tied. So they're lacking in points to meet that qualification. And just when you think, you know what, it could probably be worse, right? We could have lost those games and not gotten any points at all. But, we'd prefer better. Well, now they lose one of their best players due to suspension, Mr. Weston McKennie, sir, because of COVID protocol. And not like he made a mistake that he didn't realize he made. He brought someone into their bubble, like we saw with a certain Seahawk player who was quickly removed from that organization. And he also went out of the bubble. And he did this while it wasn't like he was having to quarantine beforehand. And then he did this during their stay, right? To me, this guy is an up-and-coming star for this team. He's played in 25 matches. He's scored 7 goals. He plays for a very high-profile team in Italy. So he's one of the better players and thus an impact guy and a guy that you want to have out there on the field. And you've just not only cost yourself the chance to, continue your role with the U.S. men's national team, but you've possibly cost your team a better chance at going to a World Cup in a year that people feel like they've got when the women are doing all they're doing on that side and the men are just clawing their way to just get a chance to play in the World Cup. I mean, this is not the time, bro. And we're how far into COVID now?
Oh,
Don't you know that I don't feel like what they're requesting of you to stay in your bubble. I don't think it's that hard. And it costs you now. They are saying he could return to the team next month for some more qualifying matches. But to me, he's a liability now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What
I
happens
agree.
if we're still in these COVID protocols come the summer when the World Cup is happening, and then he's not there for the actual World Cup, should they make it?
He put his team at risk. He put other players at risk. And again, you mentioned he's a very, very good player, but clearly from a character standpoint, do you want this guy? I think you almost need to make an example to the rest of the team. And it's sad you have to do this because, you have the opportunity to play for the U.S. men's soccer team is such an honor and such a big deal. but if he's going to brazenly just blow off the rules, you got to blow the guy out. As much as I want this team to win, I would say adios, amigo. You blew it. See you later. You blew your chance.
And not once, but twice, with bringing someone into the bubble and then stepping outside of the bubble himself. I hope it was worth it. As you watch your team try and win it. I mean, could you imagine the guilt that he might face should they lose? Should he feel like I could have been like, that's on you, bro. That's not on them. That's on you. All right. Finally, we move to the PGA today, Chris. The PGA is, people don't like golf because they feel like it's too slow, and therefore they don't want to watch it. Right. They wish it had better pace. It's not fast enough. They don't want to sit all day to watch a round of golf. So Mr. Joaquin Niemann, a player on the PGA, he just set a record, Chris, for a round in 1 hour and 53 minutes.
Whoa.
But that's not where the story ends. He had already secured his spot and secured his payday coming into the final round of this tournament. He was going to take home, and he did take home, $405,000. Pretty nice payday.
Sure.
So knowing he already had that secured, he took the course with the intention to set a record. He and his caddy, they put less in their bag. He said they carried 3 balls instead of the usual 9. They only took 1 glove. They had no rain cover. They only took 5 tees. And I know these are all little teeny tiny things, but those do add up, I would assume, if you're a caddy and you're carrying them for 18 holes. And then he had no partner. There was nobody who was playing with, right? So in between shots, they were running from shot to shot, from hole to hole, to complete that round in 1 hour and 53 minutes. And they did it. He broke the record. He finished. And then they pranked him, Chris. They got to the end. He had secured his giant payday. And then the club said, can you come over here? Yeah, you can't do that. You can't run through the holes. You can't play like that. You can't play like you don't care because you've already secured your payday. That'll be a $10,000 fine.
Oh.
And rightfully so, the dude was livid because, yes, he still has a giant check that he's taking home, but $10,000 is nothing to throw away. They were joking with him, Chris, but he was mad there for a really hot second. I don't know if he'll ever do it again, but he certainly has his name out there now. I think he finished 29th in this tournament. I think he was plus 12. So not necessarily his best outing, but pretty cool that he decided to break a course record and do it in 1 hour and 53 minutes.
Well, and again, we talk about Bryson DeChambeau and different personalities in golf. And I think, what makes it interesting for me, not being a big golf guy, is learning more about personalities. So this guy, Joaquin Niemann, I guess is what his name is. I mean, now I'm going to pay attention. Now, if I see this guy on the TV, or if I see that he's in a tournament because he did this, and even it goes to the whole next level because of the prank that they pulled on him. This is fun. And I just, so, add another interesting personality to the PGA Tour. It gives us just another reason to watch. So I think that's a fun story.
And listen, if I had already secured that money, I mean, do I want to get it in 1 hour and under 2 hours, or do I want to get it in 4 hours and be on with my day? I don't blame him. I'd probably get tired. I can't imagine how tired he was. His poor caddy. I mean, let's be honest. He's the one, even, 6 balls and 5 tees less. I don't know how much of the difference that made in the weight he was carrying, but all in all, good fun. He wasn't fined that $10K. It was just a prank. There you have it. Today's Salty Shakedown.
Spectacular Salty Shakedown as always. And I do want to get into, in the 8 o'clock hour, maybe after Bill Schoening, Shannon, this controversy at UTSA. Since the inception of the program, they have had this flag that says "Come and take it." Mm-hmm. And the university, led by its president now, has decided to do away with that tradition. It's got a lot of people angry. And I believe one of the main reasons is apparently certain groups have co-opted the "Come and Take It" flag, which was a part of the Texas struggle for independence. I think that's why UTSA, at the inception of its football program, adopted this. And theirs is even different. It's got the Roadrunner logo instead of a cannon on it. Yet because different groups, some groups that have been deemed to be racist, some groups that have deemed to be violent, have co-opted that come and take it flag.
Mhm.
So a lot of people are saying this is wokeness gone amok
Yeah.
at UTSA. So we need to get into this in the 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah. My immediate reaction is if that's your reasoning for getting rid of it, it's almost like handing it over to these groups when you can change the narrative in a positive way.
Yeah.
Right. And cheering on this team that is doing incredible things. And we're only 1 week into the football season.
Well, and how ironic, the come and take it flag. Well, they came and they took it and they took it away.
They did.
That's not right. So anyway, we'll talk more about that. And if you want to sound off on that, I know it's got a lot of UTSA people up in arms. Phone number is always open to you, 800-707-9760. But before we do that, we love talking all sorts of sports with Bill Schoening, voice of the San Antonio Spurs, previously longtime voice of the Texas Longhorns. We'll talk hoops, we'll talk football, college, and pro with Bill Schoening next. She's the salty one. He's Dave Ayler. I'm Chris. Till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Jason says the don't tread on me flag is more so used for those hate groups. UTSA is wrong for this. Well, and I think especially because its flag looked different. So even if you say, all right, that flag has kind of become a symbol, theirs is in UTSA colors with the Roadrunner logo on it. So, yeah, a little weird. And it's got some people upset. All right, I'm going to grab a little more ice for my ice water. I'll be back. Okay. Fred Robert Casares, good morning. Yolanda, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you again. Okay, let me see, how am I going to do this? Got to edit some audio. Let's do that. Dean Stone, good morning. Today, okay. Okay. Chris here. Oh my good. Davis calling Bill Schoening.
Bill's ready.
Thank you, sir. Here we go. Woo! Woo! Hour 3.
Is the Chris Duel Show. Now, Chris Duel.
Welcome into the 8 o'clock hour as our Sports Fest rolls on, and in particular, we are enjoying the fact that this is our final full day before NFL football officially gets underway with the regular season opener tomorrow night between the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you were with us earlier, Shannon and I watched Hard Knocks, the season finale. We talked about it. I got up at 2:21 in the morning this morning to watch Hard Knocks. I am a total Cowboys freak. So we'll talk NFL football. We'll talk college football, Longhorns, and of course we'll talk San Antonio Spurs and the NBA with the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Before that, longtime voice of the Texas Longhorns, Austin resident, but you see his face quite a bit in San Antonio, Mr. Bill Schoening. How are you doing this morning?
Very good, Chris. It's just like one big area now, right? I mean, there's not a lot of greenery between Austin and San Antonio anymore, unfortunately. So it's just one big, huge gathering spot.
Well, and I tell people this, Bill. Graham Weston, who was the founder of Rackspace, one of the biggest entrepreneurs in Texas, and Rackspace became like a global company. But he said years ago, and it's the first person I heard say it, maybe 7 years ago, he said, don't be thinking Austin, don't be thinking San Antonio. He said, think ASA, because he said this is becoming a single market. And in the world of tech and in the world of business, that the Austin San Antonio market is going to become a powerhouse. And here's a guy who knows what he's talking about. Ever since I heard him say that, and more now, I'm seeing indicators of that. And on a weird level, this show is kind of an indicator of that. We kind of join Austin and San Antonio. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, the two separate cities, two separate markets for sure. But the fact that there are so many people moving to both places and in all spots in between, San Marcos is booming. And a lot of people don't realize there's 35,000, maybe 36,000 students at Texas State University. And that's, smack dab in the middle between Austin, probably a little closer to Austin than it is to San Antonio. But there are a lot of young kids that go to high school in San Antonio that end up at Texas State, and from Austin that go down to Texas State. And then, all the towns along the way, Buda, Kyle, New Braunfels, Green, Schertz, all the way down to Selma into northern part of San Antonio. Believe me, I make that drive all the time. So there's a lot of different things going up, a lot of construction. And this is a boom area. I think 3 of the 5 fastest growing counties in America are between Austin and San Antonio. And that would include Williamson County, which is just north of Austin. The whole Round Rock, Georgetown area is growing as well.
Absolutely. And Bill, you know what I think keeps it all together? What keeps Austin, San Antonio, San Marcos, what makes us all like one? There's one spoke on this wheel that keeps it all together. And I believe, Bill, that is the Buc-ee's on I-35. I think the Buc-ee's right around I think it's all about that. I think that's the hub. Buc-ee's, and then the rest of us, we all just branch out from Buc-ee's. That's it. That's my theory.
I can't drive past the Buc-ee's in New Braunfels. I just can't do it. It's just like but I'm going north because it's easier when you just exit and go off and go get back on. But that Buc-ee's is very important. I thought you were going to say sports is the thing. But there are 2 things actually. Maybe 3 if you're going to include Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's, sports, and music.
Nice.
All together here in this whole big region. We can all agree that college football's underway. The NBA is only a few weeks away now. So we got a lot of stuff to look forward to sports-wise. And, of course, the music scene in San Antonio, the music scene in Austin is still going strong. Hopefully COVID will relax things a little bit here in the next few weeks. but I've been able to go to some live shows here the last few weeks. And I should say the next couple of months, maybe things will loosen up, but we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But it's good to see some music coming back in both places. And, of course, right in between, in Green, the oldest dance hall in Texas.
Oh.
My favorite spots in the whole planet is Green Hall, which was built, Chris, in 1869 or, back when you were U.S.
Well, Bill, Chris and I are on the same wavelength because I was going to ask you about Buc-ee's, but I need to know what your go-to, like when you run into Buc-ee's, because there's a lot to see, but you've obviously been a number of times. You probably have a go-to thing. Is it the beaver nuggets? Or are you getting one of the many flavors of different ices? What's your Buc-ee's buy?
Oh, man. Well, if it's late at night, I'm coming back from a game and I need some caffeine, I'll get some hot tea when I'm at Buc-ee's. But I usually pick up a snack, and I've got a real weakness for jelly beans. And they've got these big packets of jelly beans for like $2.50 or whatever. And I can just pop a few of those, get some sugar. And I know it's not really healthy. It's not real good. But that's my guilty pleasure when I stop at Buc-ee's is jelly beans.
Wait, you eat jelly beans while driving?
Yeah, sure.
That sounds like
on the driver's side.
That sounds something like a crazy person does.
Yeah.
Because I have to know what flavor is going into my mouth when I eat jelly beans, and I cannot eat more than one flavor at a time. You're telling me you blindly reach into that bag and pop some jelly beans into your mouth. What if you got a flavor you didn't like? You'd have to roll down the window and spit, sir.
No, because when you mix them all together, even if there's a flavor you don't like, they all kind of, it's kind of like gumbo or etouffee. Go to Louisiana. There might be something in there you don't like, but if it's with everything else, it's okay. That's the way it is with jelly beans. So, just pop a few and hope for a licorice because licorice is my favorite.
Oh, my gosh. I do not agree with any of this logic.
Bill Schoening. And Bill.
No, we're not. Oh, my God. Licorice of all the flavors, that's got to be the worst.
Oh, gosh. Well, Bill, we now know what you have in common with former President Ronald Reagan. He apparently had a big old jar of jelly beans in the Oval Office.
They made the blueberry jelly bean for him.
Very nice. Very nice.
I'm a very good dentist.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
That they can get in between your teeth now and then. Absolutely. All right, Bill, we will eventually talk a little Spurs with you, but let's start with some college football. We talked Texas Longhorns before the game with you last week. Now the Steve Sarkisian era is underway, and it was, I thought, a pretty impressive showing, beating Louisiana 38-18. What were your impressions of game number one for the Texas Longhorns?
I liked what I saw. I think they played with a great deal of enthusiasm. It seemed like there was a fresh start. Of course, Sark just coming in. I thought Hudson Card handled himself pretty well. He made a couple of rookie mistakes, but, he's a redshirt freshman getting his first real action as a starter, certainly. So I thought that he played very well. Bijan Robinson is just really a good player. He's a guy that they're going to give the ball to 25 times a game and see what happens. But the way he can catch the ball out of the backfield and create space out in the flat, and, of course, he's a good runner between the tackles as well. I really like Bijan Robinson. I thought the defense played pretty well. Overshown's really, really coming on. So I think that this is probably going to be a really good year for the Longhorns if they stay healthy.
Well, health is wealth. We know that in the NCAA, Bill. And just your thought on this, because you've been with Texas for a while now. We've got this Arkansas game coming up. I've already seen, apparently there was a pig hanging on Burnett, as well as the co-op putting up a fun little sign in preparation for this weekend's matchup. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? I mean, Arkansas has kind of been down in the dumps the last couple of seasons, but it is a rivalry renewed here. Do you fear for Texas, even though they've now been given that even higher ranking following the newest the AP poll?
I don't fear for the Texas football team. I fear for the Texas football fans that go to Fayetteville because it is rough up there. Now, I don't know if they've chilled a little bit in the old Southwest Conference days, but when I first started broadcasting the Longhorns back in the late 80s, early 90s, they were still in the old Southwest Conference, and so was Arkansas, of course. And that was a rough place to play. The old Barnhill Arena is where they played basketball, and the football stadium wasn't much better. I remember doing a game at the old War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock, but it's rough. Those people do not like anything in the color of orange at all, especially burnt orange. So I think that overcoming that home field advantage of Arkansas might be one of the most difficult things they have to do. That'll be a rough game. But I think from the talent perspective, of course, Rice gave Arkansas a pretty good game for a while before Arkansas pulled away in their opener. I think from an X's and O's standpoint, Texas has the advantage. But, again, going on the road, playing up there, that rowdy crowd, that's going to be a bit to overcome.
Yeah, it'd be real nice, though, man, if they can start this season at 2-0. I know some people said they might have stumbled out of the gate at 0-2 because those Ragin' Cajuns were ranked coming in on Saturday. So hopefully good things continue for the Texas Longhorns. We're talking football right now with Bill Schoening. Bill, tomorrow night, NFL football is here. You grew up in Philadelphia. I know you're a Philadelphia Eagles guy, but do you have any juice for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow night? Are you excited about this one?
I am. I'm looking forward to that game. No question about it. But, it's so hard to get a gauge, I think, on NFL teams going into the regular season. There's all kinds of projections. We know what kind of talent's coming back and all that. But we don't see anybody play any significant minutes at all in the preseason. It's really hard to tell. I mean, where is Dak Prescott? Is he going to come out sharp? We don't know yet. He hadn't played. And, of course, he had the sore arm or sore shoulder during training camp. So I would think that he'd be okay. I think he's probably ready to go. But until we see him out there, we won't know. So it's a very tough opener, obviously, for the Cowboys. But I do think that it'll be a good season for them. They're in a division that they can win. There's not a lot of great teams, including the Philadelphia Eagles, in that NFC East. But I'm looking forward to this opener. Obviously, Tampa Bay is going to be all fired up. They're celebrating their championship and getting ready to start a new season with Tom Brady, who's now how old? 43.
So I think he's 43. Yes,
78. He's 78.
Yeah. And Bill, I used to kind of hate Tom Brady because the success was just getting ridiculous. Supermodel wife, all the Super Bowls. I mean, just once he turned 40, it was and said he wanted to play until he's 45. Then I said, all right, Tom Brady, you're officially now an old guy like me. Not that I can relate to a lot of Tom Brady's world, but I kind of find myself pulling for him now, which is a complete 180 from how I felt about him maybe 6 years ago.
Sean Elliott told me one time that he ran into Tom Brady at a golf course down in Mexico during the summer, and he couldn't have been nicer. I think they might have even met for a cocktail after or a drink after the game, after the round of golf. But he said he was a really good guy. So if Sean Elliott says that Tom Brady's a good guy, I'll go with that.
Amen.
I'm still not very team Tom Brady. All right, since we've last spoke, Bill, Mr. Lamarcus Aldridge has rejoined the Nets. He's come back to the NBA. And, you were just talking about how it's kind of hard to predict the NFL season after preseason because we didn't really get to see everyone play. Well, we haven't seen a lot from Lamarcus Aldridge in the past couple of years because of his health. Now he's back in the league. We only got to see him for a very short time with the Nets. How do you think he'll be utilized with a team that is once again going to try and make a run and has a real chance to win the championship?
Well, his role, I'm sure, will be a lot different with the Nets than it was with the Spurs, where they kind of relied on him to be the starting power forward and get 20 points a game. That probably won't be his role because of all the different players, all the veteran players they have on that ball club. He'll be more of a role player. He may start, may come off the bench, I'm not sure. But I would imagine that his role will be diminished. But he'll still play an important role because I think that they'll still have him in the rotation and they'll want him to hit those mid-range jumpers and do Lamarcus Aldridge things. I just hope that Lamarcus is healthy and that, all those issues are behind him as far as his health is concerned.
Absolutely. And for Lamarcus personally, Bill, of course, a Texas Longhorn, Lamarcus Aldridge, we got to know him when he was a San Antonio Spur. Before that, of course, the Portland Trail Blazers. You look at the arc of his career, and now that he's, if he were in the Western Conference, I might not feel all warm and fuzzy about him. I feel a little better that he's in the Eastern Conference with the Brooklyn Nets. But, the Nets projected to be certainly a contender if they stay healthy. I mean, they're going to be hard to beat if they stay healthy with all that talent on that team. If the Spurs, I always qualify this with if the Spurs don't win the NBA championship next year, it would be kind of cool to see Lamarcus Aldridge finally get a ring after that long career if it works out that way for him.
Yeah, the East is stacked, though. There's a lot of good teams in the East. The Nets probably have, top to bottom, the most talent, I would think, if you're just looking at it on paper. But what's the old adage? Games aren't played on paper. They're played on television sets. So Lamarcus Aldridge obviously is on a very good team right now that has a chance, and obviously Patty Mills, the former Spur, I think is also going to play an important role in that ball club. Probably the same type of role that he had with the Spurs, coming off the bench and hitting some threes, bringing energy. And so, yeah, I'll be pulling for both those guys. Obviously, there's a lot of Spurs connections with that Brooklyn organization, especially at the very top with the general manager, Sean Marks, who spent so many years as a player and as a front office guy with the Spurs.
Couple Spurs signings in the last couple of days here. We've got, you'll have to help me with the name, Keita Bates-Diop, as well as a rookie, Mr. Joe Wieskamp. Tell us about those two guys. Wieskamp.
Yep. Well, let's get those German names right. So
I'm sorry.
It's W-I-E, okay? And German, it's always going to go with that second letter, so it's Wieskamp.
Oh, okay.
It was W-E-I, be Wieskamp, so it's Wieskamp. And he's going to be a two-way player. He's a sharpshooter out of Iowa. We talked about him before. Of course, he played in the summer league, and he's going to get a chance to kind of groom his game. I would imagine that he'll be, spending quite a bit of time in Austin. Keita Bates-Diop, I think he signed a 2-year deal with the Spurs. And the interesting thing about him is that, remember, just 3 years ago, he was the Big Ten Player of the Year. This is a guy that at Ohio State, a Big Ten school, averaged close to 20 points and 10 rebounds. I think it was like 19 points, 9 rebounds per game for Ohio State. So this is a guy that can play. He showed flashes of what he could do last year when he got an opportunity. So I think that it really speaks for the depth up front for the Spurs to bring in a guy 6'8", 230, solid player, and still very young. I think he's 25 years of age. I don't think he'll turn 26 until January. Look how old I am saying that 25 is very, very young. He's just a little baby. He's 25. But Keita Bates-Diop is a good signing. I think, again, he provides some depth up front for the Spurs.
Well, and Bill, as you walk us through the pronunciation of Joe Wieskamp, I for our listeners and for Shannon, I can't tell you how many times, you are the master of pronunciation. You are a stickler for it. You study it. Nobody does it better than you do, in my view, in broadcasting. And Bill and Shannon, I can't tell you how many times on the Spurs broadcasts, because I do the Spurs Net Center, so I do updates, and in pregame I'll give some NBA scores and some scoring. But I can't tell you how many times I've tried to pronounce a guy's name from somewhere other than the United States, and I'll do it over the air, and then during the break, Michael Bartlett in my ear will say, Bill says the way you pronounce that is Giannis Antetokounmpo, or whatever the name is. So I mean, I've been corrected on pronunciations, and I appreciate it because I want to get it right. Multiple occasions, Bill Schoening, you are the master. And once and for all, because I've heard 19 different ways to pronounce Giannis's name. Giannis Antetokounmpo, how do you pronounce that dude? Since he's a champion now, I got to finally get his pronunciation down.
You got it right. Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's it. Or Antetokounmpo. Obviously, they put the emphasis on the second syllable there. But his parents are from Nigeria, I believe, in Africa. And he grew up in Athens. So even though he's the Greek freak, his heritage is in Nigeria. So that's an African name, Antetokounmpo.
Well, and he is right before the finals, Bill, I saw like a mini documentary of him on YouTube. And just, you mentioned Athens, just as a kid, he would go to the gym. He'd have to borrow other people's shoes because he didn't have shoes. He would sleep on a mat at the gym just so that he could have more time playing there. I really feel, and we've talked about this before, Bill, but you think about what a character guy Tim Duncan was for the Spurs, for the city of San Antonio, and for Greg Popovich. I see a similar dynamic there in Giannis deciding to stay in Milwaukee, deciding to be loyal to the Bucks, the relationship he has with Coach Mike Budenholzer. I get a feel of a similar kind of a thing there, where a guy just falls in love with a community and a culture and a basketball team and stays loyal to it. It's nice to see that happening in Milwaukee.
I agree. Remember how young he was when he got drafted, too. So he really grew up as a Milwaukee Buck.
Very cool. So, Bill Schoening, as you mentioned, we are less than a month away from Spurs basketball preseason opener on October 4th. Are you feeling it? Does it feel like this freight train is about to get closer to you now? How do you feel about it all?
This is the time of the year where I really start to get that itch. I'm ready to get back to work. So I've been doing some other things this summer, but now I'm going to start focusing on basketball and getting ready for the season. But usually this time of the year, especially when football starts up, you get the juices flowing for sports to be back to live action. And then teams will start training camp, and obviously open gyms going on now. So players are starting to really kind of hone in on their season coming up and work on their skills. So we're only a few weeks away. So, yes, I'm very much looking forward to it, Chris.
And finally, Bill, no pressure, but on the air about an hour ago when I mentioned you were going to be on the show, Shannon said, does Bill have music for us? Does he have a completed song that we can play? I mean, anything happening either in the studio or in the engineering room to work on the latest mix of your music?
I'm working on 2 songs right now. It's just a matter of getting into the studio and doing it. So I promise once we have, you mentioned Mr. G last week. I wrote a song about my high school teacher. And I also have ballers from Istanbul talking about,
yes,
to pronounce names, the guys from the Fenerbahce Ultra team in Istanbul. I wrote a reggae song about them. And to my knowledge, the only time a reggae song has ever been written about a Turkish basketball team. Looking forward to getting in the studio and laying those down, but it's just a matter of finding. My producer has to find the time. He's a real busy guy, so he's going to try to fit me in here in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Well, we stand at the ready to drop your music on these 2 radio stations in Austin and in San Antonio. Bill Schoening, voice of the San Antonio Spurs, always a kick. We always learn something and have a great time. Bill, thanks for taking the time, and have a great weekend.
Thanks very much, guys. Good to be with you.
Thanks so much. I feel weird saying have a great weekend on a Wednesday, Shannon, but you and I start the weekend on Thursday, and we got football tomorrow. So I think it's official.
It rolls together.
Weekends begin on Thursdays. All right, coming up, Shannon and I have got to dive in. It is a hot topic. It has got a lot of people hot under the collar in, around, and beyond San Antonio. This decision yesterday by UTSA to do away with the come and take it flag and the come and take it tradition that they have had at UTSA football games. There are big time alums. There are big time season ticket holders who are none too happy about this decision at UTSA. We will dive into it and sound off on it. And if you want to sound off with us about what's going on at UTSA, jump in on the phone lines, 800-707-9760. We are yapping sports with you till 9 o'clock. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Ayler making the show go. It's the Chris Duel Show. Taro Kotani, the greatest international Spurs fan, 16 trips from San Antonio. Okay, I got one more of these. 16 trips from Tokyo, to San Antonio. Okay, I need one more, right? Did I not get the last one? I need the last one here. I'm editing audio for a commercial, actually 5 of them, technically 10 of them, because I have to do this week, and I am on vacation next week. So I have to do next week's as well, which I'm doing. So, woo! Yeah, Taro, man, we would love to have you back. And if COVID restrictions allow, like we've done before, Taro, would love to get you in studio, man. You're clearly one of our old-time favorites. Let's see. So now I'm going to save that. And this is going to become E. Now I'm going to mail them. So let's go do this. All right. My email is not letting me compose a new message. Thank you. Oh, there it is. Okay. What the heck was that? Hey, Dave, do you have any thoughts on this UTSA thing? Are you aware of it?
I know a little bit of the story, but I haven't read it.
Okay. So I just wanted to see if you wanted to jump in on it or not. Okay.
Did that come down last night? Because I didn't know they had made a decision on it.
Midday, the president released a statement on social media. Midday or afternoon, actually. More afternoonish.
Guess they want to get it done before first month.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, yeah. I imagine they were planning to roll that flag out Saturday. Let's do this. Yeah, Taro, good to see that things are loosening up in Japan. I'm very concerned about this, not only the Delta variant, but there's a new variant out there that is supposed to be potentially worse. So it's just, I look forward to the time when we can get back to relatively normal. I don't think we're ever going to be totally normal, but just to be relatively normal where we can go to basketball games and events and not have to worry as much as we do now. That would be nice. Well, Facebook, David says Facebook banned me for 3 days for saying Mas Puto, WTF. They said it's hate speech. Wow. Well, David, our friend Tracy Bogert gets banned regularly from Facebook, so that hasn't happened to me yet. Maybe I'm not trying hard enough. I haven't been put into Facebook jail yet. Alexander, welcome in. Alexander with the hashtag Go Spurs Go. Here we go.
Back to the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeting.
That's right. She's the salty one. I'm Chris. Dave Ayler with the broken toe and the plain T-shirt is your soundscape stylist. And what we like to say is, come and take it. Come and take it. Oh, wait. You're coming to take it? Wait. What,
We didn't mean it.
Why are you taking it? Come on. Give it back. Give it back. UTSA, Shannon. Yesterday, Taylor Amy, which is, he's got an interesting name. It's spelled E-I-G-H-M-Y. My understanding is it's pronounced Amy. Released a statement, which is written to the Roadrunners. It says Roadrunners, comma, and then multi-paragraphs. And the gist of it is, at their football games, they have had a huge flag that says, come and take it, which is a throwback to a flag and a battle cry that was used in the fight for Texas independence back in the 1800s. I believe that flag has a cannon on it, but UTSA's didn't. It was in UTSA Roadrunner colors, in the orange and the blue, and it had the Roadrunner logo that they have on the helmets on that flag. But in the statement by UTSA President Taylor Amy, that phrase and that original flag has been co-opted by a number of organizations that have a variety of agendas. And I think one of them that he would cite is that flag was a flag you saw a lot of, for example, used by, and the Don't Tread on Me flag, which is a part of American history with the snake on it, was used by the people who protested and some would say rioted at the nation's capital on January 6th. So there are different organizations, some of which I would say have negative agendas. It's been cited that some that have some racist agendas using the come and take it flag. But my thought here, Shannon, is this is what, it's a part of Texas history, and UTSA obviously is a institution of higher learning and a football team in the state of Texas. So shouldn't college kids and college graduates know their history? And B, their flag was different. So, and it's been there. They've been using it, and it's kind of interesting. It's completely different. But in Austin, the big controversy has been the Eyes of Texas fight song. and that ultimately some wanted to do away with.
Mhm.
And again, I know it's a completely different subject, but I just find it interesting that both schools have had something where there was a controversy about something that was a bit of a tradition. Obviously, Texas's tradition decades and decades and decades and decades longer than this relatively new startup football program at UTSA, but it was an early tradition. They've been doing it for years. A lot of people loved it. I think maybe they jumped the gun on getting rid of it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think a lot of it has to do with optics, right? And that there's maybe some outside folk who don't really understand it. They associate it with, the violence or the things that we look down upon negatively, instead of for the celebration it is. And I said earlier, taking it away almost makes it a win for the people who are using it in a negative light, versus using it to show school pride and to cheer on your team and educate people on where its origins come from. Obviously, it's not like a school up north is using it either. It is a Texas school in a city that played a huge role in Texas gaining its independence. And, I'm looking now, there are replicas of the flag across the state, one of which at the University of Texas, El Paso, which is just like UTSA, a part of the UT school system. It seems like it was done more for others than to keep it for those that enjoy it. And listen, I don't know if this game is going to be on TV this weekend for UTSA. I hope it is, because I'd love to see, because everyone is going to go and wear and show off that logo. I looked yesterday when this announcement was made, because when this discussion first came up a few weeks ago, I went to the UTSA school store website, searched "come and take it," and there were, I believe, 18 variations of the shirt with the specific design. Some of them varied, in color, and then whether or not it had the logo or just the words. And I looked yesterday and they were gone. But that does, if they're a school and they're still trying to make money, I don't know if you're there in person, maybe they've discounted them, but I want one of those shirts now. I think they're great. I hope people were able to get them and that they wear them in a bit of a protest. I won't be surprised if this gets reversed at some point. I think it's kind of ridiculous that they took it away for the reasons that they did, when I think more than anything it could be used as an educational purpose. I mean, Texas history is a class that I took at UTSA.
Yeah.
That is
Crazy.
a class I took.
Yeah.
And guess what we talked about?
Well,
and guess who had a lot of football players in her class?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the inaugural season of that year. So I'm not a fan. Well,
and I wonder, and you brought this up, Shannon, people who would just come anyway and bring their own come and take it flags.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that became a thing, if the groundswell of protest from UTSA students, alums, and fans who said, we disagree with this, freedom of speech, we're bringing our own damn come and take it flags. I wonder to what level. I mean, what are you going to go confiscate? You're going to have like the flag police go around the fans at the Alamo Dome and confiscate come and take it flags if people choose to bring them. It's going to be fascinating to see if there is a backlash, if there is a protest, and how university officials would handle this. Because those people who disagree with this decision and who have been fans, I saw, one of our regular listeners post yesterday. I've been a season ticket holder to UTSA football since season number 1. And this is ridiculous, and I disagree with it. You just wonder if there will be counter protests and just using the flag, and if that continues to happen, will the university try to sanction people? It's going to be interesting to see how it moves from here.
I mean, you're taking the fun out of it, especially for a program. It's 10 years old. People are looking for something to, wrap around. I mean, Texas has Bevo, they have Big Bertha, they have Smokey the Cannon, which of course came about after the Red River rivalry, right? When OU was shooting off their little guns. So Texas was like, well, we brought a cannon. It's way louder than yours. But it's almost like, well, or do we have to get rid of that now? Because obviously it's not meant to represent the come and take it cannon, but it is a cannon and we are in Texas. So therefore some may misconstrue that, and that's bad.
Yeah.
The logic people use these days to jump. I mean, the tangents people go on and the connections they make to try and make a point are we're getting out of line here.
Well,
right?
and what I'm showing on Facebook Live, you can see it, but I'll describe it on the radio. Think about each school also has its hand signal. You've got hook 'em horns for the Texas Longhorns, which is iconic. Yeah. Well, and then so you've got birds up, which is your pinky finger, your other fingers clasped, and your thumb. It looks a little bit like a roadrunner, sort of. Now, what if some hate group decided to adopt this finger thing? Like you said, for hook 'em horns, what if someone, those are devil horns? We got some Satan worshipers who are using hook 'em horns. Do you then say, all right, everybody, we got to change the little hand gesture that has meant birds up. We got to change that now because some hate groups are now using it, saying it means something else. I just think, to me, that's an example of, look, it's yours. It doesn't mean what these other people seem to be implying that it means, and you should stand by your guns. And as I said to you earlier in the show, Shannon, the huge irony here is that the phrase is "come and take it." And yes, because of this, you as a university want to come and take that flag and take that phrase away from your fans who have been forging, I know young, but forging a young tradition with it.
Yeah. And now what? I mean, did they even give a replacement idea?
I don't think so.
This should be our call sign. This should be what we put on our flags and on our T-shirts. And mean, if we're gonna create a problem out of nothing, and then we create the problem and then we seemingly take care of the problem, where's the alternative? Where is that? Well, I'm not seeing it yet.
Shannon, you used the term replacement idea, which is going to kind of take us into another topic we didn't get to yet today. But again, another controversy. This one, though, I'm with the Washington football team changing its name. And I mean, look at what the name was and just think about it. A little offensive and a lot offensive to a large number of people. So they're changing the football team name. And Shannon, it is my understanding, we have finalists now. Have they narrowed it down to a certain number of names that might be the new name for the Washington football team?
Yeah, we've got some finalists: the Red Hogs, Defenders, Armada, Presidents, Brigade, Commanders.
Oh, hey!
Red Wolves and Washington football team is still in that as well.
First of all, Commanders is ours. It's San Antonio's. Don't you dare.
They'll come and take that. Don't you dare.
Don't you dare, Daniel Snyder. And again, Shannon, I've solved this problem. You call them the Washington Americans, and you not only honor all Americans, but you pay special homage to Native Americans. And you are uniquely, there was once a team in the World Football League called the Birmingham Americans, like back in the 70s. But, okay, so of those 8, I don't like Armada. Defenders is just kind of ordinary. I don't like Presidents. I mean, there were some crappy presidents that we didn't like, Millard Fillmore, I don't know. So any of those finalists, if Daniel Snyder called you up, Shannon, and said, hey, man, I've been listening to the show online. I really like the way you think, Shannon Salty Sweeney. Here's my list of the 8 finalists. I need you to pick one. And if you do, we're going to run with it. Which of those 8 would you pick?
You're putting me in a spot here.
All right. See, I don't love any of them.
I really don't know. I don't really love any of them. I like the Red Wolves, but not necessarily for that organization, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea, but not for them.
Yeah.
If there was a new team that came about, had red uniforms, whatever, that's fine.
Red Wolves has a little sizzle to it. Yeah. Defenders is, I know what they're going for, but it's
that's just rude to the offense.
Yeah. Oh, good point. Yeah, good point.
You're going to be upset about stuff.
Yeah. And it's interesting. When I first heard Commanders, and that goes the Alliance of American Football, the San Antonio franchise. When I first heard Commanders, I thought, really? I don't know if I like it. And then like so many names, I got used to it. In fact, I'll admit, when I was a kid and they had a name the team contest when the Dallas Chaparrals came to San Antonio, and the winning name was the Spurs, my first thought was Spurs? The little thing you wear on your boot to make the horse uncomfortable. That's where, and of course it grew on us, and I'm a huge Spurs fan now. So
I'm seeing in the comments, a lot of people are really liking Red Wolves. There's some mock-ups of designs and graphics, but some reports that the Commanders is currently taking a commanding lead.
All right.
Games.
San Antonio
you'll have to
people.
burn your
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah.
And a Cowboys fan with Commanders shirt.
No.
Hang it in your
I
closet.
have to burn all my fond memories of the San Antonio Commanders. That ain't right. And I still have my San Antonio Commanders inaugural game t-shirt somewhere. So, well, Shannon, at this time tomorrow, it will be the holy holiday of NFL football. It will be a football Thursday tomorrow.
Yay!
I'm very excited. As always, a stellar performance. Oh, Salty One, great job today as always.
Thank you, sir. Great
Thank you very
job.
much. Dave Ayler playing hurt. The toe in as much pain yesterday as today. I prescribed happy drugs for the next 21 hours for you.
I'll let my doctor know.
Yeah. If I were a doctor,
If you write me a prescription, I'm ready.
I would get you all kinds of drugs if I were your doctor, but I'm not. Our thanks to the great Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Tomorrow, it's only a day away. Cowboys, Buccaneers. If you got a chance, go watch Hard Knocks. I gave it a 7, but it's Cowboys. It gets you all fired up. All right. For Shannon Salty Sweeney and Dave Ayler, I'm Chris. Have yourself a great Wednesday. We will see you in 21.